Here is a story about a young woman who enlists in the military and gets a buzz cut. Once upon a time, there was a determined and ambitious girl named Emily. She had always dreamt of joining a prestigious military school where she could challenge herself, develop her skills, and serve her country. With unwavering determination, she embarked on this new chapter of her life. As Emily arrived at the army school, she was greeted by a stern-faced assistant. The assistant, with a no-nonsense demeanor, requested her bag and phone, explaining that they needed to be secured during the contract signing process. Emily handed them over, feeling a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Together, they walked down a corridor to a small room where the contract signing would take place. The room had a simple wooden table and a few chairs. The assistant gestured for Emily to take a seat and handed her the contract, asking her to read it thoroughly before signing. Emily's hands trembled slightly as she flipped through the pages of the contract. It outlined the terms of her service, the responsibilities she would undertake, and the commitment she was making to the army. As she read, a mixture of excitement and apprehension swelled within her. The assistant patiently waited as Emily carefully reviewed each clause of the contract. Questions and uncertainties raced through her mind, but she knew that this was a moment of decision and commitment. After a thorough examination, she placed the pen to the paper, signing her name with determination. With the contract signed, the assistant nodded approvingly and collected the document. The assistant led Emily to a separate room where military clothes were neatly organized. Rows of uniforms, including pajamas and sports attire, awaited her. The assistant explained that these clothes would be her attire during different activities and training sessions. With a sense of anticipation, Emily selected the appropriate clothing for the moment. She carefully changed out of her civilian attire and into the designated military outfit. As she buttoned up the shirt and adjusted the pants, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and readiness in her new uniform. The assistant's stern words struck Emily with surprise. The realization that she would not have access to her bag and phone for the duration of her time at the military school brought a mix of emotions. She hesitated for a moment, absorbing the gravity of the instruction, and then nodded, signifying her understanding. Emily nodded in understanding, appreciating the need for security and maintaining focus during her training. She understood that this was a time for dedication and immersion in the military experience. As the assistant suggested they visit the barber who served the military school, Emily felt a mix of curiosity and apprehension. She understood that maintaining a well-groomed appearance was a part of military discipline and professionalism. However, she wondered what kind of haircut or style awaited her at the hands of the military barber. Curiosity got the better of Emily, and she followed the assistant to the designated barber area within the military school. The sound of clippers humming and the scent of aftershave permeated the air, further heightening her anticipation. As Emily stood outside the military school's barber shop, she felt a wave of shock wash over her. The realization that girls in the military school shaved their hair bald had caught her completely off guard. Confusion and uncertainty filled her mind as she questioned her own readiness to undergo such a dramatic change. Her thoughts raced as she observed the queue of girls and young men waiting patiently for their turn. The sight of their newly shaved heads sent a mix of emotions through her: curiosity, apprehension, and a lingering sense of unease. The assistant noticed Emily's hesitation and calmly explained the tradition of hair shaving in the military school. They reassured her that it was a symbolic act, representing unity, equality, and a fresh start for all recruits. The assistant shared stories of the camaraderie and bonding that followed the hair shaving experience, emphasizing the sense of community that it fostered. Emily took a deep breath, trying to process the new information and reconcile it with her own expectations. She pondered the significance of the act and the potential impact it would have on her identity and self-image. It was a moment of internal conflict, grappling with the idea of sacrificing her long locks for the sake of conformity and belonging. With a mix of trepidation and curiosity, Emily made the decision to proceed. She joined the queue, her mind racing with thoughts and emotions. As she waited her turn, she observed the transformations taking place before her eyes. The shedding of hair as a symbol of letting go, embracing the collective spirit of the military school. Finally, it was her turn. Emily took a deep breath, sat in the barber's chair, and watched as the barber prepared their tools. The glint of the clippers and the hum of the blades filled the room, heightening her anticipation and nerves. As the barber approached with the clippers, Emily closed her eyes, surrendering to the process. The vibrations of the clippers reverberated through her scalp as her hair gradually fell to the ground. With each passing stroke, a sense of liberation and transformation engulfed her. When the barber finished, Emily hesitantly opened her eyes, not recognizing the person staring back at her in the mirror. The reflection revealed a new version of herself, her scalp smooth and exposed. It was a moment of vulnerability, but also one of empowerment and unity with her fellow recruits. As she stepped away from the barber's chair, Emily ran her hand over her newly shaved head, feeling the coolness and the weightlessness of her hairless scalp. As Emily stepped out of the barber's office, she ran her hand over her freshly shaved head, feeling the cool breeze against her scalp. She couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions: vulnerability, empowerment, and a renewed sense of identity. It was a stark transformation, a visible symbol of her commitment to the military school. The assistant led Emily through the corridors of the school, guiding her to the room where she would be staying. Along the way, Emily couldn't help but notice the camaraderie and discipline that permeated the atmosphere. The sound of marching boots, the distant voices of fellow recruits, and the organized rhythm of military life surrounded her. As Emily entered the room, she couldn't help but notice the presence of other recruits, some of whom also had their hair shaved. It was a reminder that she was part of a community of individuals who had chosen the same path, each with their own stories and experiences.